development, creating a culture of open social scholarship.
Okay, how are we doing there, Martin? Well, good. Okay, so I've started the broadcast, so it should be live on air and also on the YouTube channel. Can you hear me okay, Martin?
Yep.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Hey, Catherine. Hey, thanks for agreeing to sort of co-host this with us and facilitate the questions, Catherine. That's great. And Martin, for enabling the technology. You need to get a real computer, Martin. Get a Mac, anyway. And welcome to the session. I've got Laurent here, and Laurent and Tonchik from AUT. He's one of my colleagues.
Hello.
And, he's French, so you have to forgive him. And we've also got Caroline. Caroline, first time we've met, actually, who's just just joined our CMOOC experience, and she's joined us today as well. So let's get into it. What I want to try and do is do some screen sharing and just share some notes, and Laurent might sort of jump in now and again. You okay, Catherine?
Yes, we're just getting our screen sharing going.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're on the big screen?
You're on the big screen now.
Okay, cool. Okay. Right, well, let me just start my screen sharing. And
I can do a French song if you want, Tom.
no, just choosing the right option here.
I can do a Spanish song.
Okay, so hopefully you should see my screen, and what you should see hopefully is the Evernote. It says modeling open practices and this big QR code. How's that? Is that coming through, Martin?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so if you have a mobile device and a QR code reader app on your device, you could quickly scan that if you want to have a link to these notes and bookmark them. They are linked in the presentation as well.
Can you scroll it up a bit?
Okay, there's the QR code, and underneath that you can see the short link.
That's obscured.
Is that
Can you
okay?
just read it?
The short link.
Yes, bit.ly/ capital O, capital E, capital R, so OER 16, and in lowercase notes. So that's linked off the OER website as well, anyway, off the presentation page. So let's just scroll down here a little bit. So the paper is kind of a co-effort from a few people, as myself, my colleague Vikal Narayan, Laurent, who's on the video chat as well, and Victoria, who is the sort of back-end man, the after the software, etc. So really what I wanted to sort of talk about was kind of the framework that we're trying to really model this on, and the idea of professional development for lecturers, trying to integrate the Scholarship of Technology Enhanced Learning, which is a branch of Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, with an educational design framework. So it gives a theoretical framework for the design of the CMOOC and this professional development, and really trying to bed into this a culture of openness within sort of reflective practice. So we've used principles of rhizomatic learning, so the CMOOC is very much about the participants and what they're doing, about their discussions, about what they produce as content. So there's very little content in the CMOOC. What we're trying to do is design triggering events. So each week there's a new triggering event to try and get people to think, to get them to engage with in this case, mobile and social media, but the goal is for innovation and pedagogy. So really trying to connect theory, practice, and critical reflection. So how we've gone about this, let me just flick you through some of the tools. We haven't got too long to go over this, but we have a WordPress blog that we've set up, and the entire outline for the CMOOC is on this WordPress blog. You can see there's various sections. So there's an overview, there's a sign-up page, and Caroline up And what we asked from people is some of the core tools so that they can create their own WordPress blog. Most people we're connecting with haven't got a blog already. A Twitter address so we can connect asynchronously. A Google Plus account. And then we can use these tools to facilitate the communication in the community. We have a Google Plus community. We have a blog roll of all the WordPress blogs. We have outlines of each week's triggering event and activity, and we'll have a look at some of these. And then we have what we call a project bank. We've stolen this from Alan Levine, or Cog Dog, so anyone who reads his blog. And it's really a plugin for WordPress, and it's a way for the participants to share their ideas. So as we move along the CMOOC, it goes beyond just us trying to facilitate trigger events to curating ideas and curriculum ideas and innovation ideas from the participants, and that goes into what we call a project bank, which Alan called an assignment bank. And then we've got more topics that people can explore, and then finally looking at the certified member of the Association of Learning Technologies, or CMOLT, as an accreditation pathway. So there's no assessment in the CMOOC. It's just about participation and interaction. But if participants want to, they can use this as a framework to put together a portfolio for CMOLT accreditation and get external accreditation that way. And a lot of our local participants, we pay for their CMOLT fees and for their Escalite or ALT association fees. So this is the CMOOC, the Google Plus community. This is where the discussion happens, and we try to post some of the activity from what people are doing. Was that a question, or was that just a hiccup in the audio?
Just a hiccup, I think.
Okay, it was probably a little wrong. So you can see some of the stuff that people have been doing, and it's just a way of facilitating the community of trying to get discussion happening. Interestingly, just like Caroline joining from Venezuela, a lady who's joined us from Saskatchewan. So it's interesting to connect with her all the way from Canada. And one way of sort of giving a bit of geographical context is we've asked all the participants to put themselves onto a Google map. So this is a co-edited map, and I invite them to place them on this. You can see this is our second iteration of the CMOOC last year. You can see the participants for last year sort of scrolling down the side there, and then the participants from this year are putting themselves onto the map. So it's kind of an optional extra. Some people feel okay at doing that, and others are a little bit reluctant. And then they can link to some media. Stuart has, not Stuart, Stephen, here we go. Stephen has a little YouTube video, so if you want to watch that, we asked them to drop a pin, locate themselves on the map. He's got a little video of himself dropping a pin on a balloon. Yes, flash. Okay, we pick up some random audio there. Anyway, another activity we've asked people to do is do a survey and just to explore what sort of prior experiences of teaching and learning and the tools that they use, the context that they teach, etc. So this is just a very quick survey, and it gives us some feedback of where our participants are at, what they do, and try to get them to think critically about pedagogies and different theories of pedagogies as well, which they quite possibly never have done before, introduced on new concepts like pedagogy. So I guess the most relevant with the OER is what we're actually getting into right this week, which is the concept of open scholarship, and trying to get participants to really set up social networks for their research. So getting them to establish a Mendeley profile, an ORCID, or Open Research and Contributor ID as a sort of a central research profile, to engage with ResearchGate, Google Scholar, etc. And then to also explore how social media, and in particular mobile social media, can actually be an enhancement to traditional citation and other metrics for research impact via alt metrics and Twitter. And just as an example, just recently, Catherine and myself published a paper with Research and Learning Technology, and and it was interesting to watch the social media around that as Catherine tweeted the link as it was published. I retweeted it, and within a very short time we had quite a high altmetrics score. So it's a way of really another way of measuring impact for your research and conversations around social media. Project Bank, this is where we're trying to collate participants' content, their sharing of ideas. So this is the Project Bank, and you can see there's a few projects there that people have uploaded. They can favorite those, they can rate them, give a ranking, they can comment on each other's projects, etc. We're also curating participants' blogs and trying to encourage participants to give feedback on each other's blog posts. So you can see we've got quite a few in the blog roll there now. Just an example of one of the participants from last year, their CMOP portfolio, and we encourage them to use WordPress as their portfolio for CMOP. And for most of them, that's quite a new experience for them as well, as being open with something like a CMOP portfolio. Very quickly, some feedback from one of our participants from last year. They nicknamed themselves, this is a community practice of ethics lecturers at AUT. They nicknamed themselves Digital Warriors. And basically sort of moving from very technophobic to becoming techno ninjas, and also starting to integrate these ideas into their own practice and pedagogy. So this is a really nice little reflection. This is linked off the notes if you want to actually read it. As you can see, the text is quite small. So there we go, a very, very quick overview of our Mossamelt CMOOC. We're using a range of social media to facilitate this, and we're using open social media, and we're just trying to integrate into that the ideas around creating open scholarship and research practices as well. So it's probably about my 10 minutes. Are there any questions? If I just stop the screen sharing and go down. So let's just scroll down here.
Can you possibly hear me, Tom?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in the notion, in how you reconcile open scholarship with what appears to be quite a narrow ecosystem. So you're talking about Mendeley, researchers, and quite well-educated academics. So is that characteristically different to if you were engaging with the outside world, the non-academics?
Well, I guess what we're doing is using as a catalyst or sort of a grounding technology is a focus on mobile and social media, and mainly because it's a way of empowering lecturer students in different contexts. So all of our students now own smartphones, so they all have access to this technology, and it's about engaging lecturers with how can they innovate pedagogical practices using the tools that the students own, and tools that can cross multiple contexts without you having to become a computer programmer or an expert in, you know, high-end technology. So that's why we've chosen that as the context and sort of kept that way. So the focus on social media is the idea of sharing and of making it a simple entry point for people to engage with. I don't know if that answers your question, but I guess that's you know, we're just trying to make the access point easy for people, and also making suggestions on what would be we think good choices to start with, and people can explore beyond that. You know, once they've got a bit of confidence, they feel okay at exploring other areas as well.
I guess
What we do find, I mean, what I do find with most of the lecturers I work with is that most of them are not engaging with the scholarship of teaching and learning. They are engaging research in their discipline context. So if they're engaging in research and being, in journalism, if they're a product design lecturer, they're engaging in plastics research. So for most of the lecturers I work with, the scholarship of teaching is a completely new field for them, and they're at the starting point in learning how to do that. So we try and mentor them into that process. Do you got any comments, Laurent?
No, but Caroline would like to.
Caroline, your mic is open.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
In relation with what Tom is saying about suggesting tools, although he's working with lecturers, in my research I'm working with undergraduates, and it is incredible how much they fear the openness and the, how can I say, the overwhelming different tools that they find. And I think suggesting and giving some guidelines can be very helpful, so people feel a little bit more contained in this open space where many people just get lost, and avoiding the feeling of being lost. They just close the internet and the options of being digital scholars and going to this world. So I think it's very good to suggest, and of course it's open to whatever we want to take, but it helps, I think, in my experience and with the data I have been collecting.
And I think the little survey, so from the survey we can find out what people's prior experience is, and we do the same survey with students as with the lecturers, and the results are very similar. People have very limited experience of social media beyond Facebook.
One more question. We've got 1 minute left.
Any other questions?
Hi, Tom. This kind of follows on from Caroline's point, but as well as the bewildering array of different tools, there is, I think, a vulnerability in terms of learning processes that, as mature, more competent learners, we often forget. And I wondered, you're kind of suggesting all this is done in the open, but is that because of the particular context you're working with and the learners you're expecting? Or
I guess in our case, it's a philosophical decision. We believe that being open is important, and it's the way to go in sharing ideas, and the benefits of that outweigh any negatives. But yes, you're right, and that's the biggest hurdle we have with any of our participants that we work with, and Laurent can agree with me here, is that whole idea of being open to ethical issues, of being scared of being open is a huge barrier. And so what we're trying to do, and by trying to make good choices for them to explore, is to hopefully give them a structure to scaffold them into what being open means, rather than just saying choose anything and try it and they follow themselves and look like Muppets. So yeah, trying to guide people.
Tom, our ending point is actually about to be enforced because my battery is about to die on this laptop.
We just send you a round of applause around the globe.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you again, and good night in New Zealand.
That was terrific.
Great.
Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Martin. And thank you, Caroline and Laurent.
Thanks very much.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
all.
See you guys. Bye.